Hey, Programming 12. Are you trying to make a UFO shoot a bullet at you? Well, then you've come to the right video because we are going to take a look at how do we make something aim at something else using PVectors. So you'll notice that that's a criteria for the UFO class. The UFOs will create bullets and they'll aim them at you. So here's the story on how to do that. I'm going to show you, something a little bit different. So what I'm going to do instead of that, because I don't want to spoil the whole story, is I'm going to make it so that our spaceship shoots bullets at the mouse, so that we can target the mouse coordinate. And then I hope that you can take that information and apply it to your UFO targeting the player. Sound good? Let's try it out. So here's my bullet constructor, and you're going to be doing a bit of other work inside of this. You probably won't be modifying this constructor. You're probably going to be making a second constructor because this constructor just shoots straight from the player, right? So you're probably going to make a second constructor that shoots straight from. Well, actually, it'll probably take a parameter for its location, just like our new asteroid constructor did in the same way. So what I would do is make that, but for now, just for this demonstration about how to aim, I'm going to put it inside of here. Okay, so we already have the bullet coming out of the player. That's great. And we made some lame velocity, so we're just going to override that velocity by making a new one. So I'm going to say velocity equals a new p vector. That'll erase the old one. And then here's how you do it. Essentially, what you want to do is just take the difference of the coordinates between your target and yourself. You're going to do that for the x, and you're going to do that for the y. Effectively, that'll kind of create your triangle in the 2D space, which will give you sort of a rise and run. And then that's just going to be the correct angle to fire that bullet along. It just because you're taking the difference between the target's x and y and your x and y, that creates that triangle between you two, and the hypotenuse, will be your actual direction pointing them, and you can figure out the slope of that. Except that you don't really have to figure out the slope of that because PVectors will have that all taken care of for you. So really, the only thing you got to do is send the new PVector the difference in those things. So what I'm going to do is I'm aiming at the mouse, so my target is the mouse x minus our x, and then mouse y minus our locations y. So that works very nicely. And then I can set the magnitude to whatever number, whatever bullet speed I want. Because remember, you can control the magnitude of a vector, which is like how fast the thing is moving, in this case anyways, and the direction of the vector, which is, what direction is this thing pointing in and going. So that's really it. That's all you have to do. And let's just confirm it works. So now if I shoot, I shoot a bullet at the direction of the mouse, right? And if you suck at asteroids, you could have this on for your spaceship in order to make it easier for you to actually play the game. I would say that one thing that I think you might find a little bit boring about this, if when this is in your UFO, is that the UFO will shoot at where the player was rather than where they're going. And that might be a little bit boring because it's easy to dodge. So if you want your UFO to be able to kind of lead the shot, you know what I mean by that? Like aim where they're currently going to. In addition to this, you could and setting the magnitude, you could also do something like velocity dot add whatever the player's velocity is. So for me, it's player one dot velocity. This won't work for this setup here because I am the player, so I can't really send it my target's velocity because the target is the mouse. So that doesn't make sense. Although I suppose I could do something with p mouse x, but that's not really the point. What's interesting about this is that it'll sort of take into account the speed at which the player is moving, and will aim the bullet ahead to account for that. And then it's not really aiming; it's just the velocity coming out of the gun. For that bullet will factor that in, so it'll sort of aim towards where it's going. You can still dodge. This won't be constantly updating, unless unless you like build that into like the act function of your bullet to make heat-seeking bullets. That'd be wild. I don't really know what that would look like, so maybe I'll just shut up before I lead you astray. But that could be an interesting place to search if you wanted to make a new class, like for a heat-seeking missile or something. Whoa, so cool. That, but I don't know. Maybe that would be from the UFO. It would fire like a homing missile that times out. You just have to keep dodging it. That really sounds fun. Anyways, there's some things for you to chew on and think about. But really, this is it. This is part of the beauty of p-vectors and why we use them, because it just makes a lot of these calculations into one line of code, and yeah, everything is easier from there. Okay, thanks everybody.